holidays, one and all. It is the GameCritics.com podcast holiday special. I'm Tim Spaeth. Let's set the tone right from the top. I want you to think of this show as the spiritual successor to the old Bob Hope Christmas specials. Y'all remember those? You love them. Everybody, you watch them with your families year in and year out until Bob Hope died. And if you remember, Bob and his wife would invite guests into their home on a Hollywood soundstage. They would drink eggnog and brandy, mostly brandy. But where this show tonight will differ is that Bob generally had no idea who any of the guests were, because he was blitzed on brandy and generally incoherent and of course the dementia. But like Ricky Martin would saunter into his house and Bob would be like, "Hey, how are you, Ricky?" And then that would be it. So anyway, I digress. This week, we are welcoming guests tonight, and we know exactly who they are, and we love them dearly. They'll be rotating in and out throughout the evening. Tons of guests, a cavalcade of stars with us for the duration of this show, though. You all know my dear friends, Chi Kong Lu. Hey, Chi.
Hey Tim, how's it going, man? I didn't even know Bob Hope was dead, actually.
Yeah, he died he died in like 90 something. So you're about
he died a long time ago.
It wasn't the 90s, but it was a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago. So I'm sorry to break that to you. I'll now always be known as the guy who told you Bob Hope died. Let's also say hello to Brad Gallaway.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And of course Mike Bracken.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Oh, happy holidays to you, sir. Let's extend a warm welcome to our first two guests. Say hello to podcast favorite Daniel Weissenberger. Dan, hello, sir.
Howdy, folks.
Also joining us, podcast favorite Richard Kayak. Hello, Richard.
Merry Xmas, everyone.
Richard, you're no longer the new guy. You're now the wily veteran. I think the last time you were on, you had recently joined the site, but now you're grizzled.
Yeah, I know. It's there's like 3 people under me now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's welcome those 3 people. It's Sparky Clarkson, Matthew Kaplan, and am I gonna remember the third guy?
Trent Fing.
Yeah,
something.
Trent Fingland. Yes.
He was his boy from the boards.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
I did not know that.
Long time, loyal board goer, finally earned his stripes, so congratulations especially to him.
Fantastic. What a wonderful holiday gift for them. Better than any...
He gets stripes?
Yeah, on the shoulder. It's more of a chevron, actually, not an actual stripe, but, you know.
Oh.
Well, now that we've got all the warm love and greetings out of the way, here's how the show is going to work. We are taking a look back at the year that was, 2009, the year in games, in convenient category format. I will read a category, and we have tons of them. We have thousands of categories we're going to go through tonight. We will each bring some nominees to the table. We'll discuss them a bit and move on. Now, we won't really declare any winners because really, just to be mentioned on this podcast, how much more of a winner do you need to be? But we will declare one winner at the end of the show, and that, of course, is Game of the Year. So we will be doing that at the very, very end. Everyone will get a pick, and then we'll have fighting, and we'll wind up with a Game Critics Game of the Year. For those of you who are following along at home, the categories can be found in our show notes. But let's get right to it. Does anyone have anything to say or add before we get started here?
I'd like to jump in here for 1 second. I'm going to try my best, but 2009 is going to go down in history for me as the year I did not play any new video games. So look for me to be very, very uninformed about Assassin's Creed 2 and, stuff like that.
Well, exactly why we brought you on the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Way to sell your appearance there, Dan.
I just thought I'd be honest right up front. I'm not going to lie to
I didn't play it either, so,
Oh, okay.
A little late there, Dan, yeah.
Well, Dan, we have a category just for you coming up, so
fantastic.
You're going to like that. But we're going to start with what we call Surprise of the Year. Now, Surprise of the Year, we're spinning this as a good surprise. So what game moment, announcement made you feel all tingly inside? And I think we'll start with Richard. As our guest, we give you the first chance at the mic. Surprise of the Year, sir.
Well, my surprise of the year was Batman Arkham Asylum, and the reason for this is because right before it came out, there was a ridiculous amount of hype for it, and honestly, what I was expecting is something like every other Batman game that's ever been created, which is basically just a beat 'em up with a Batman mask thrown on it, just really, really half-assed kind of thing. And what I got was this really interesting blend of like just fighting and the really predatory nature of Batman, and it was very quite full-assed. Actually, it was a quite a full-assed experience, if I might say so.
Full assed?
Full-assed.
Is
Not
that
I was hoping you'd
Not
stop saying
half-assed.
that, actually.
That's hyphenated, right?
It is hyphenated.
Okay.
I was going to ask
But,
what that meant, but then Mike Bracken just explained it to me when he said it's not half-assed. Then I got it. Yeah, okay. So.
Oh my god.
Oh, but I mean,
I'll
I
be
was
your
expecting.
vulgarity interpreter tonight.
Well, it's interesting. Batman is popping up on a lot of top 10 lists, a lot of top 3 lists, honestly. And, there's never been a good Batman game, so no one really had any cause to think this one would be good.
Well, I wouldn't say there's never been a good Batman. There have been Batman games that have not been garbage. But
8-bit one by Sunsoft was okay.
Yeah, there was an 8-bit one, and then there was one for the Super Nintendo that was based on Batman the Animated Series that was okay. I mean, it was playable, but nothing has really captured like the very predatory nature of Batman. Because I mean, in Arkham Asylum, you get to like stalk rooms of bad guys and jump down from the rafters and grab them and hang them by their ankles from the ceiling. And I mean, capturing that part of just what I like to call the Batman experience is just something that hadn't been done in any of those games before, and I was really surprised by it.
Don't forget about the detective work also. Thought that was a very interesting choice as well.
Yeah, that was pretty well done too, and actually the writing in it was actually pretty good as well. It wasn't quite as good as what I was expecting it to be, especially since Paul Dini, one of the writers of the original animated series, was doing it. It was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. Scarecrow parts were awesome too.
Yeah, I was really surprised at just how thoroughly good it was. I mean, it was just really well done,
Yeah.
really thought out from top to bottom. Felt really well polished, and from a relatively unknown developer. So yeah, I totally agree. It's a great choice there, Richard.
Yeah, and then really the only part that I thought was kind of lame about it were the boss fights, but I mean that's supremely forgivable, especially given everything else.
Yeah, I'll have to kind of copy what you guys said. I mean, that was my pick as well. And for exactly the same reasons. I mean, every Batman game prior to this point has basically been a flop with, the rare exception. And I just really appreciated how everything in the game was really dedicated towards unifying the whole experience. I mean, it felt like a very seamless, streamlined experience that was very tailored towards giving the player a real front row seat to what it, might actually be like to be Batman. They captured everything that I feel like all the past games missed. And for that alone, it really is worthy of recognition. So that was my surprise of the year as well, because I never in a million years would I have thought it would have turned out as good as it did. I mean, I was ready to start hating on it based on the amount of hype prior to release. And this is one of those rare instances when it was actually warranted. It was actually true.
Yeah.
So who else has a surprise of the year?
Oh, I've got a surprise of the year. And that, it's not a game, it's the announcement of a game. I've got to say, there was nothing I was looking more forward to than Way of the Samurai 3. And I've got to say,
Whoa.
yeah, the fact, sorry, but the fact that when I heard that it was actually coming out in North America, that was my pleasant surprise of the year, because I thought I was going to have to learn Japanese and buy like an international Xbox to play this thing. So that was the pleasantest surprise I could have gotten.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Dan. That was actually my pick as well, Way of the Samurai 3. And not only was it a great announcement, but the game was pretty damn good too. So that was,
Well, we'll be bringing that up in another topic a little later on, so we'll talk about it then.
Okay. Although I've talked about it plenty already, so I'll just leave it
Oh,
at
no,
that.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I'm stunned. She thought there would be no references to Way of the Samurai 3, that was the game that nobody heard of. And here we are, 7 minutes into the podcast, and someone else has mentioned Way of the Samurai 3. That's great. That's fantastic.
There's a 2-man fan club. It's me and Dan, basically.
So, Mike, surprise of the year. What do you got?
Yes, surprise of the year was very easy for me. It was the surprise announcement of Final Fantasy XIV at E3. But now that the afterglow of that has sort of worn off for me, I'm not entirely convinced that this is going to be a good thing, because basically Square has taken the same races from Final Fantasy XI and brought them back. And at first I thought that was going to be cool because they were trying to placate all our senses of nostalgia, all of us who've spent thousands of hours on Final Fantasy XI. But I've since concluded that it's probably more a case of Square just being really lazy. So I'd love to think that Square has finally learned from their almost daily missteps that they made in handling a Final Fantasy XI, but since, from what I hear, they're still making them in Final Fantasy XI all these years later, I'm not totally convinced that the new game will be any big improvement outside of the graphics, but I would really like for it to be. So, and when that little video came on at E3, during the E3 coverage, I was like all giddy and excited. So that was my big surprise of the year, because I didn't know it was going to be like that, or that it was even coming. So.
And if you had to guess, if you had to look into your future, how many hours are you going to put into Final Fantasy 14?
We had this discussion, me and a friend, the other day, and it's like Final Fantasy 11. I've got over 4,000 hours in, and it's like I don't want to do that again. But
That's like
there's
a lifetime. What do you do with 4,000 hours in that game?
And it's like extra sad because then I've got a World of Warcraft account that has well over 2,000 hours on it. So yeah, I play way too much, way too many MMOs. So
you realize that's a full year, right?
Yeah,
a full year of your life.
Yeah,
that's actually 166 days, straight total.
I did the math once. We don't speak about the math anymore. So thank you for reminding me of that. But let's not discuss that anymore.
That's why you have the Windows calculator open during the podcast, so you can do stuff like that.
You shouldn't bring this up in front of Richard, because this is Richard's role on the podcast. He did it the last time he was on.
Yes,
I did
it again. So that's your fault. Yeah.
Not my fault.
What did I do? I don't remember.
You calculated the numbers.
I don't remember calculating anything.
Yep.
Well, we can always check the record.
Yep.
Okay.
Did we do that last time? Did we we must have brought this up on the anniversary show, I guess.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, probably because it's sad, and I like to embarrass myself by discussing sad things that I have done in my life.
Well, somebody might react to 4,000 hours by saying, "What the F?" And that, coincidentally, is the name of our next award. And, by the way, I should get an award for fantastic segues.
You say that's an epic segue right there.
It really was. I mean, it was amazing. It was just incredible. This is awarded to the game moment announcement that caused you to cry out, "What the F?" Dan, I got to imagine this is something you say with regularity. What was your big moment?
I got to say, I'm not going to get into this too much because it has been covered both here in the site and everywhere else on the internet, but I just want to put in my 2 cents, which is, what the F, Left 4 Dead 2? If they had sold me that as a $20 extra content pack for the first Left 4 Dead, I would have been completely satisfied, but releasing that as a full-price game is crazy.
Has any of us played it yet?
Yeah, I bought it. I reviewed it actually. I personally thought there was enough changes in it that the second game was actually warranted, especially when you consider there are franchises like Madden and crap that release sequels all the time. That just all they have is the rosters are updated. Maybe Brett Favre's facial hair looks a little bit more realistic, and there's maybe a little bit of different controls, but. I mean, honestly, they fixed everything I thought was wrong with the first game, so no, I didn't really have a problem with it.
I'm kind of with you. I haven't played it, but I feel the same way. I have a bigger problem with Square or someone like that releasing Chrono Trigger on the DS for like $40 for something that's a port of an ancient game, even though it's a great game, but $40. At least with Left 4 Dead 2, you're getting new characters, new scenarios, all that stuff. So I don't have a huge problem with it personally.
Yeah, and it is a little bit more than just like straight new levels and stuff like that, because there were actually quite a few engine changes and under the hood stuff as well, because the the zombie AI is actually significantly better than it was in the first game.
Didn't you guys fight about Left 4 Dead the last time you were on?
We did, and I was expecting to as well this time.
We're never going to stop fighting about Left 4 Dead. Just be prepared for that.
Actually, after that last podcast, we fought for like an additional, what was it, like an hour after the podcast.
We talked for another
ended,
extra half hour about Left 4 Dead
and
off
other
the podcast
stuff, and Perfect Dark got into the discussion somehow. I don't remember.
Yeah, which then you put in your article about it without mentioning that was my idea.
Oh shoot! You know what? I'm sorry. I did not sync that up at all. I apologize.
All right.
It's okay.
So, things are bubbling to the surface, and we must suppress them.
Somebody else, what the F?
Richard, what the F?
All right. My what the F actually has to do with Dragon Age, and this requires a little bit of setup. There is a character that you meet very early on in the game. For the sake of not spoiling anything, we'll call him Jim. And
Jim Dragon Age, sure.
Yes, Jim. And later on, you get the opportunity to kill Jim. And you finish the quest, you kill Jim, you take whatever it is you're supposed to get from Jim. And then later on, I was talking to one of my party members who I hadn't really explored all that much at that point. And there's one of her dialogue options, you can actually ask her about Jim. And then she just says, like, oh, you don't mean that Jim? The Jim from the Legends? And I'm like, yes, the one you just helped me murder like an hour ago. And then I'm still talking to her. It's like, well, I didn't think that Jim actually existed. I thought it was just a story. I'm like, you stabbed him 100 times. I mean, you were actually got the killing blow on him. I'm surprised you don't remember that. So that was my WTF.
Pretty good.
What else? Chi, what the F?
Mine is actually playing Brutal Legend and saying, wow, this game really sucks. The gameplay really sucks. I just couldn't believe like how bad it, like it wasn't, I don't know, like they just like the game, I've been saying this over and over again, like the game developers made that game in some kind of a vacuum and just like didn't compare it to any other game out in the market. Just the hack and slash doesn't feel great. The RTS everyone's complained about up the wazoo. So yeah, that's it for me, man.
Well, kind of piggybacking on that, it's funny you said that because Brutal Legend was my what the F of the year also, but for a slightly different reason. I mean, I do agree with everything you said. But the thing that really made me like, what the fuck, was how the developers concealed its identity as an RTS until the game hit shelves. It was like they portrayed it as this hack and slash kind of, platformer-ish kind of game in all of the demos, in all of the, pre-release materials, and all the interviews and stuff. They didn't even mention it, in the slightest. And then all of a sudden, like, it's like maybe 2 or 3 days before the game hits shelves, and I'm talking to people who are playing it, and they're like, "It's a fucking RTS," and I'm like, "What?"
I saw the first review of that, and somebody said RTS in it, and I'm like, "This person doesn't know what they're talking about. This game can't be RTS."
I mean, I don't know what they were thinking, confusing the issue like that. I mean, it's like you don't want to trick people into buying your game because they're going to be pissed, and rightfully so. I mean, most of the people who bought this on release day or nearabouts thought they were getting like a character-based, kind of single character platform, and instead they get this RTS. And I mean, whether it's good or bad aside, I mean, just the simple fact that they completely misled the public about what the game was about, to me, was like a huge like what the fuck.
Indeed. I went the much more simpler route, and it's the painfully obvious one, the Wii Vitality sensor. And when I saw that category name, that's the first thing I thought of, and then Tim mentions it in the notes for the category. So I'm like, damn you, Tim! Now I look like I'm stealing ideas, but
it's all good, man. It's all good.
I mean, we've beaten this horse to death on the E3 show, and it's been a while, but, I mean, Jesus Christ. What the fuck is the point of this thing? Why do I need to hear about it? And I still don't have a clue what it's for or who it's supposed to appeal to, or why that you would even go to E3 and put this as, like, one of your big megaton announcement type things. It's a fucking vitality sensor. Horrible.
It invokes instant laughter. Enough said.
Yeah, it's like a bad joke.
The last thing I wanted to mention here, I just have two quick ones where I actually said what the F was the Bayonetta demo, which, guys, maybe I'm just old, but really, what the F is going on there? And number two, and this is not so much what the, but it was a lot of Fs, and that was just every second I spent playing Trials HD. So those were my two special moments. Let's move on. I think we got to everybody there, didn't we?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now, this we've actually we've named after one of the members of our show. We call it the Brad Gallaway is Single-Handedly Keeping Indie Developers in Business Award. And it really wouldn't be appropriate to start with anyone other than Brad Gallaway.
Well, I will have to accept this opening salvo. There's been so many good indie games this year. I mean, it's been really great. So rather than go through each one and detail them all, I'll list them out really quick, and then hopefully people listening to this podcast, if they haven't already played them, will go out and check them out. So for me, probably the top of the field that I played this year was Shatter on PSN, Armor Valley on the Xbox Live Indie tab, both The Maw and Splosion Man, which is on Xbox Live Arcade, the aforementioned F-Heavy Trials HD, which I actually had a pretty good time with, although I did hate it. I hated it, but I loved it. So Trials HD, also on Arcade, Trine, which is on PSN, and finally Osmos, which I played on Steam, and I believe it's available a couple other places on PC. So for me, those were the high points of the indie scene this year.
Richard.
Okay, my entry here is Machinarium, which is a Flash-based, just a simple point-and-click adventure game that is just so oozing with style and aesthetic that it's... I mean, it was actually the definitive kind of adventure game for me. It's because it actually... I can't really describe how good this game looks. Like, it's really... You just have to look at it yourself. And, I mean, everything about it is just great. The soundtrack is great. The mechanics are solid. The puzzles are really well done, and everything. I mean, the only problem I really had with it was sometimes the point and click interface can get a little cumbersome because the way you take items in and out of your inventory can get a little annoying sometimes. But beyond that, it was just an absolute slam dunk.
I mean, if you had to compare it to the classics of the genre.
It definitely belongs on the shelf with all of those. Absolutely. I mean, if you... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're asking me to compare it to, like, Tales of Monkey Island or Longest Journey, then, yeah, it goes up with them.
High praise indeed. Very high praise indeed. Anyone else dive into some indie games this year?
Sure. This was the year I kind of discovered parody games, which really... I think there's a lot in video games that's worth parodying, but they cost so much money to make that no one wants to take a risk at making a comedy game. But that is just all over the Flash game scene. So I wanted to talk about things like Achievement Unlocked and Upgrade the Game. Just the strange games that are out there right now that are games about playing games like that, and you have to burn the rope. I don't know if anyone else has played these things, but
I have. You have to burn the rope was actually quite good. It amused me.
Yeah,
I gotta say, just really quick, I didn't think it was that great. I mean, I played it and I'm like, whatever. But I do agree with the rest of those. I mean, those are all pretty good, and I do agree with Dan's nomination of that scene. There's a lot of really, really interesting stuff out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, and they're not all great. Some of them fall flat, and some of them are kind of obvious. And I understand a lot of people did complain about you have to burn the rope, but because it was a little too full of itself. But the fact is, there's a lot of people in the Flash scene who are really saying something about the way we play games, and I think that's something that should be encouraged more. And I would love to see someone try a full-length version of one of these.
All right, all good suggestions though. Let's move on, and Dan, we're going to call this the Dan Weissenberger podcast award just for you, the non 2009 game of the year. What game from your backlog did you all finally get around to playing and love? So, Dan, we have to start with you as the person who didn't play any 2009 games.
Actually, my non-2009 game of the year goes here and in another category too. So I'll just shout it out then, because I'm only going to talk about it once, because it's a game that did not come out this year and kind of belonged on your last podcast, because it is a game that I have spent literally more than 100 hours playing, and I can't stop even though it's terrible. And I'd be an amateur if it weren't the game Two Worlds.
100 hours.
Yeah, it's... I almost can't express how bad a game Two Worlds is, but at the same time, there's something I've been struggling to understand, and I'm actually writing an article about it. It's trying to express just how captivating I find the incredibly boring world of Two Worlds.
What is the game? I'm not familiar with it. What is it?
It's a budget made in Russia version of Oblivion.
Of Oblivion, yeah.
It's like Oblivion put through a shit machine is what it is.
Yeah, Two Worlds is a very special level of suck. It's like suck squared.
It's so bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm not denying anything you're saying. It's terrible, but it's the only game in existence where you can fight a skeleton's ghost. And that alone, I want to point that out. The first time I got through this game and I'm fighting the ghost of a skeleton, I'm like, you win. You win at games. Because that's just too beautiful.
I was going to ask you to explain your fascination, but I think you just did right there for me.
Yeah,
So
that pretty much sums it up right there.
It really does. Anybody else?
Who else took a deep dive into their backlog?
Go ahead.
Well, it wasn't really in my backlog so much as it was just something I picked up on Steam and thought it was cool. But it was actually also I think it was the first official review I did for the site. But Aquaria, it's a 2D side-scrolling platform. Even though there's not really a lot of platforming, it is a platformer, and it's similar to Machinarium in that it took a really simple formula and just added so much aesthetic goodness and just a lot of just different environmental puzzles, and there's actually quite a bit of depth in the story, which is not what you'd expect with this game. They actually weave it in pretty well to the point where there's this sort of this dreamlike charm that permeates throughout the whole thing, and I thought it was just fantastic. It also belongs in the shelf next to other great 2D platformers like, say, Super Metroid or Mega Man.
Wow. Very high praise.
It is also an indie game, and I considered cheating and making that my indie game selection, but I decided not to.
See, I would have kicked you off the podcast if you tried to pull that on my show.
Oh, see, I would have just thrown down my microphone and walked out of my room symbolically, which is not actually a room, but anyway.
Could have left the Starbucks here where you're podcasting from.
I would have left my living room, sort of, I guess. I don't know.
It's a living room, but not actually a room. I understand.
Yes. Don't question my ramblings.
Not at all. No, sir. I wouldn't dream of it. Chi, what did you finally get around to playing this year?
Yeah, right at the start of the year, I got around to the original Front Mission, or the remake of Front Mission, rather, on the DS, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. I mean, it surprisingly held up pretty well, and has good. And of course, anything with customizable mechs gets is an automatic positive for me. So yeah.
Mike, Brad, what about you guys?
You want to go, Brad?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm actually really disappointed that Valkyria Chronicles came out last year, because for a long time I thought it came out this year because I didn't get around to it until it has already been January or something. It came out at the very end of 2008. It's fantastic. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say that was on my list too, and it actually came out in April of 2008. So it came out a
Oh,
long
did it
time
really?
ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even further back than I thought. So yeah, I was way off on when that game came out. I was way behind the curve, but I finally did get around to it this year. Got it out of the backlog, and I loved every minute of it. I mean, I really wish I had covered it earlier, or I wish I had given it more attention when it would have been more appropriate. So I'm coming way late to the party now. But Valkyria Chronicles for the PS3 is a total winner any way you slice it. So that was my non-2009 favorite.
I went in a little different direction. I picked up last year's 2008 release, God of War: Chains of Olympus for the PSP. I had bought a copy during the annual Toys R Us buy two get one free sale last year, and then promptly put it in the shrink wrap shrine that exists here at my house of games that I have never opened. But this year I finally got around to cracking it open, and I am really glad that I did. Usually when a game is like a big title and it's getting a handheld spin-off, you know it's going to suck because they're going to farm it out to someone who is going to do a really shitty job of it, and it just isn't going to compress down to a handheld. But Chains of Olympus is like playing one of the console God of Wars in portable form. So like I could go to the bathroom and play this game whenever I wanted to and not have to like wheel my TV in there or anything. So it looks fantastic. It plays fantastic. I think it looks better than some of the first generation like 360 games we saw, some of the budget 360 titles. It was the first time I have ever finished a PSP game in my life and then was like actually happy that I own a PSP because my PSP mostly gathers dust. But this is a great game. Probably still the most polished and well-developed game on that system. So that was my choice.
I'll second that. That's a quality title for sure.
I'll wrap it up by saying Dead Space, which will forever be, for me, the game I played while my wife was recovering from her C-section in the hospital. At least that's how I remember it. Probably not how you will remember it, but...
no, that is actually how I remember it, too.
Good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't played it, so that's how I'm going to remember it now.
Every time I use that gun with the saw blade and slice off necromorph arms, I think of your wife's C-section.
Yep.
Oh, too far. You pushed that one too far.
It's only a matter of time before somebody went there.
Yes.
And Tim, before anyone thinks you're like a total douchebag, you should clarify that you weren't playing this game while she was actually having the C-section.
That's correct. No.
Yes, he was.
It was hours later while she was struggling with the newborn. No. I was there. I helped perform the surgery, and then afterwards I said, "Look, I have to go play this fantastic game." So I went home, played some Dead Space. Really, to me, kind of renders Resident Evil obsolete, and I'm playing Resident Evil 5 right now. I'm about halfway through it, and I feel totally justified in saying that because Resident Evil 5, to me, not cutting it at all, not living up to the high standard of Resident Evil 4, and I don't need it anymore. I've got Dead Space and of course, the upcoming Dead Space 2. So,
which sounds sweet.
It does indeed. It does, sir.
Resident Evil is dead to you?
It is. It is dead to me. Especially because they took out, and this is a total tangent, I'm terribly sorry, but they took out the vendor guy who's like, "Hey, what you selling?" I miss that guy. God, I love that guy. Let's move on.
I used to just talk to him for no reason at all, just to hear him talk.
Oh, sexy voice. Let's move on to our next topic. Oh, here we go, guys, and we're all going to have the same answer, so we can just take Scribblenauts out. Right?
No. I guarantee we're not going to have the same answer. I went out of my way to not pick Scribblenauts, so we got something else.
All right, good.
I got something else too, yeah. So.
All right, most disappointing game of the year, other than Scribblenauts. Brad, Brad, why don't you start us off?
Okay, I knew everybody was going to say Scribblenauts because that's like a horribly disappointing game, so I went in a totally different direction, and instead of picking a disappointing game, I actually picked 2 pieces of DLC, which to me were just like as bad as if somebody had like squatted and crapped in my mouth. It was Pinnacle Station for Mass Effect and Mothership Zeta for Fallout 3. Both of those games are fantastic, and I love them to death. I mean, those were 2 of my favorite games of all time. I mean, they're actually both on my top 10 of all time list as we speak right now. But in an interesting twist, the developers for each of those projects decided to end the experience by releasing the weakest, most slapped-together, most retarded piece of DLC each. I mean, Pinnacle Station for Mass Effect was a completely broken shooting gallery that I actually could not finish because it was so buggy. And Mothership Zeta was like a couple hours of walking through a coppery gray hallway shooting the same alien like a million times in a row. I mean, I could not believe the bitter note that both of those superb games ended on. And those were just completely piss poor endings to fantastic experiences, and I wish that neither of those had ever been released.
Those are really good ones. I agree wholeheartedly with both of them. Although I didn't play Pinnacle Station because you talked me out of it. I mean, 0 out of 0. I've never seen that from you before. That was or 0 out of 10. I'm sorry.
Full 0, complete 0.
Incredible. So 2 good ones there. Richard, most disappointing game of the year.
Well, mine is actually cheating just slightly because it's from December 2008, and I played it in January of 2009. So apologies beforehand. If you want to boot me from Skype now, you are free to do so.
Did you not get the memo?
No.
What the fuck, dude?
No, I got the memo. I just choose to ignore it, just like everything else.
This better be a damn good choice, man.
Yeah, man.
Prince of Persia, the newer one that came out on the
Yeah, that's cool. Let you slide on that.
the next gen consoles. That was just it had a very, very good concept. I mean, Ubisoft, the Prince of Persia series, since they started the Sands of Time, it's been the way you traverse the world is just always been great. The effortless athleticism with which you scale walls, you climb things, you just run around all the time. It works really well. However, in this one, I kind of like to think I understand what they were trying to do, and this is pure speculation on my part, but they were trying to go for more of a Shadow of the Colossus feeling, to where instead of fighting a lot of smaller enemies, you fight just several boss fights that are more memorable and more challenging. But the problem with those is none of the fights are memorable at all. They're all exactly the same. Only one of them is even slightly different. And then on top of that, the way you progress through the game is you collect these stupid little light seeds that are just, it requires you to run to the same level like 3 or 4 goddamn times. That just, oh God, it was so annoying. And then for the record, for the review I wrote for this, originally I did give it an 8, but that was before I really understood how the review scale worked here, because I thought that, kind of like in most public school system, where a 70 is a C, like a 70 is an average score, whereas at Game Critics it's a 5. So in retrospect, I would have given it a 6. So that was my most disappointing game of 2008/2009.
I actually like that game quite a bit, so I am going to kick you off the show. But
all right,
no.
cool.
I agree with you completely on the boss fights, though. And did you play the DLC for it by any chance?
No, I did not. I was actually I think I may have downloaded it at some point, but I don't think I played it.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour experience where you fight one of those bosses like 8 times in a row.
You care to say which one?
I can't describe it. It's the one that you have to knock off the cliff and then he jumps back on. And
yeah, that's the one that's actually slightly different from the others. But the rest of them, it's like, you just hit them until something, you just hit it. You just basically keep hitting them, and their attacks are all the same, and their counters are all the same, and the way you attack them is always the same. And it just got so monotonous. I was just like, wow.
Yeah. Something we should talk about for a future podcast is the quality of boss battles in modern gaming. Do they even make good boss battles anymore?
They do. There are quite a few. I mean, just to say, in Aquaria, there are quite a few good ones. Let me think. If you give me time to come up with something for this is a topic I can go on for like an hour about.
Future show, sir. Future show.
Right.
We'll get you back on. Absolutely. Disappointing game of the year. Chi, what do you got?
I got Miramasa, the Demon Blade.
Thank you.
That was almost my choice too.
Yeah, I mean, here I am thinking that this game is going to be sort of like the last hurrah of the Wii. It's like, we know the Wii sucks. The Wiimote sucks. Waggle sucks. Here's one thing they can't possibly screw up: a 2D fighting game, platformer fighting type game, and the artwork's awesome. Looks great, and rumored to have tentacle hentai porn in there, even better.
Yeah, that's what sold me. That's what sold me.
Right, and then the game comes out, no hentai porn, wow, big letdown. No, seriously, but the game was just we talked at length about it. I mean, it was just a big letdown and just horrible game experience overall. Yep.
Mike, what about you, sir?
I went with Star Ocean 4 on the Xbox 360. Tri-Ace developed this game, and they're a pretty respected RPG developer, but they've continued to sort of tarnish their reputation with this game, which is yet another mediocre game that they've put their name on. I was saying, how bad is Star Ocean 4 the other day, and then it's so fucking bad that I basically quit 35 hours into it, and I was only on the second of 4 discs. So,
oh my god.
Yeah, I expect stupid stories in JRPGs these days, which is another thing we could do an entire show on. But I don't expect a lame combat system in my Tri-Ace titles, and that's what I got there. So that was 2 strikes for it right off the bat. Then if you add in the tons of stupid fucking backtracking that I had to do in a game that was already on 4 discs and I was 35 hours into, and then the penchant for naming everything with a stupid acronym and making the lead character an emo asshole. It was not only my biggest disappointment of 2009, but it was also the game that annoyed me more than any other this year.
And that leaves us with Dan.
Let's see. I know this is going to be a weird, controversial one where Chi is concerned, but I'm going to say it. Way of the Samurai 3.
Okay.
And I'll tell you... I know no one else cares because no one else played it or cares about the series, and I'll go at length when she writes a review and then I do a second opinion. But I've just got to say, the ways they've made the game accessible really piss me off. I come to Way of the Samurai for a punishingly difficult samurai simulation, and while I like that they added an instant kill mode to make it, so I can get killed at any moment with a single hit, love that. The fact that I don't lose my sword for screwing up, and the fact that I can take as much time as I want to finish the game, really pisses me off. So, yeah, I would say that was my most disappointing. And, okay, to be fair, I haven't actually finished playing it, because last week Way of the Samurai 3 killed my Xbox. So, I've only completed it 5 or 6 times, so I haven't gotten the full experience yet, but we'll see.
So provisionally,
I gotta counter that, Tim. So give me an opportunity.
Totally.
Be my guest.
Well, for one thing, the amount of time that you play the game, while it doesn't force you to have to progress through the game like they did in previous game, neither of those things have anything to do with the challenge, though. So that's not the fact that the game progressed naturally, even though you weren't doing anything in the previous games, didn't make the game any harder or less harder. So that's one thing. And what was your other comment again?
I don't like that it lets me keep my swords if I get killed.
Yeah, I mean, well, they did that in the second game too. I mean, they let you keep your swords in the second game, and that was unfortunately, yeah. But that was my main complaint about the first one. That was the one thing that really was the worst thing about it. It was really soul crushingly bad. So I didn't mind so much. But I kind of hear what you're saying. I mean, I think it is getting a little bit. Actually, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say it's kind of getting a little bit easier because you can save almost anywhere, but still you can get killed pretty easily, wherever you're at. So I kind of don't agree with those points.
Oh no, I do appreciate. I totally see where you're coming from, but the fact for me is the one thing that really bugged me was what I loved most about the world of Way of the Samurai up until this point is that it really felt like everyone else was going on living their lives whether I was there or not, and that you can, if you just sit around doing jobs in Way of the Samurai 2, you can miss the game's story because people don't stop living just because you're not talking to them. That's what I liked about the world, and the fact that they took that away to make it more video gamey kind of pissed me off a little.
Yeah, no, that's a better way to put it. That part I kind of agree that it and I said this in the previous podcast. It made Way of the Samurai less special, and it made it more like a GTA. So I'll agree with that part of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Still a good game though.
Oh, it's still a good game. It's just my most disappointing game.
Yeah.
You guys should totally start a Way of the Samurai podcast. I would listen every week.
Just us discussing strategies and plot points and how to get the special swords.
Totally.
Yeah. Only if you and Matt start your Two Human podcast first.
Oh, yes. Yes. Interesting you should mention that, Chi, and I assume you're setting that up as a segue because that takes us to our next award. It's the Too Human Award for Inexplicable Excellence. And we'll start, dedicated, of course, to my favorite game, Too Human. And let's begin with Dan. Dan, you've got to have something here.
Skeleton's Ghost.
All right.
There is nothing in I played Too Human. You know what? There's nothing in there to equal the beauty of a Skeleton's Ghost.
All right, next.
Next, yes. This is supposed to be a game that's good, right? I mean, did I misunderstand?
No, it's a game you love. Even though
it's a bad game you love. Yeah, it's a bad game you love.
It's a bad game you love.
Oh, okay.
Richard, do you have one?
I do, and I'm going to sort of brace myself for the wave that's about to hit me, because I listened to you guys totally eviscerate this on one of the podcasts, but that Turtles in Time reshelled remake that came out for XBLA.
Oh, no. Richard, no.
I don't know what it is. It's like, I listened to everything that I heard you guys say, and I agree with it, but I still like it, and I don't know why. And it's like, I mean, the thrill of it is still there. I mean, I get that it's an old gameplay mechanism and doesn't really have anything new to offer, but I mean, really my only complaint about it is that it's based on the arcade version and not the Super Nintendo version, where it doesn't have that the Technodrome level where you fight Shredder by throwing foot soldiers at the screen. That's the only thing I don't like about it.
I had the same reaction as Tim. I kind of felt bad for you.
Yeah.
that you actually played through the game. You know, I really don't have anything to say beyond that. Really. Wow. Okay.
I played through that whole thing.
My condolences.
I actually played through it twice because I played through it by myself and I played through it with two other people.
This is too sad. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you got?
Mine, this was a funny category for me because I have a game, but it's not inexplicable. I went with Ghostbusters, and the reason being there is that I didn't find the controls or the gameplay to be particularly great, and I understand that swinging around a ghost attached to a proton pack would be difficult in, quote, real life, but it's like way fucking harder in this game than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And then I was also annoyed by the difficulty spikes that would happen at random points for no obvious reason, like the final level or the scene at the museum where the fucking possessor ghosts take over all three of your people and then wail on you with the other ghosts in the room, which just seems to happen randomly. But I kept playing on entirely because playing the game was like watching that third Ghostbusters movie that we should have had years ago, which we may now eventually get. But, you know, spending time with Venkman, Ray, Egon, and the black guy who no one knows who his name is, but everyone just calls him Ernie Hudson because it's easier to remember than Winston. Exactly. Winston, yes. That makes up for all the technical shortcomings for me. And it was the one time in my life, my one gaming experience, where I would find myself thinking, please just let this cutscene go on for like an hour so I don't actually have to play this game again and I can just watch this like a movie instead. Ghostbusters isn't bad, but it does have a lot of problems, and I enjoyed it probably more than I should have given its numerous flaws. But, you know, it's not like quite in the same league as Too Human, but that was the one game that sprung to mind when this category came up for me.
And your verdict on Bill Murray's performance, is it just bad acting or is it delightfully understated?
In that game, I think it's delightfully understated. Personally, I think Bill
he was like high on methadone or something.
Yeah, but dude,
terrible.
This is what Bill Murray does now. I mean,
Bill Murray doesn't have to try.
He doesn't have to try. Exactly. He wasn't fucking Lost in Translation. What does he have left to prove? I mean.
He could have at least sounded like he cared enough.
He's like an Oscar caliber actor now. He's above Ghostbusters, so I just expect him to phone it in, and that's funny in itself. So
if Bill Murray was in Two Worlds, he would have made Two Worlds awesome. That's how good Bill Murray is.
I mean, look what he did for Zombieland. I mean, Christ.
For the record, Mike, you just agreed with Dan 100%.
I know. If David shows up and we agree on something, then the world is ending tomorrow.
Chi, what's your Yeah. What's your inexplicably awesome game?
It's One-chan Bara, the samurai bikini.
Dude, that was
my
almost
God.
mine too. That was almost mine.
You guys are high, man. Oh my God. I can't. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Admittedly, it's a bad game, I know, but
It's a
hey,
horrible game.
cowgirl in a bikini samurai slashing zombies.
Zombies.
Yeah,
You
it just
like
had
the
it had all the right elements in there. You know what I mean? And actually, the one thing that saved it for me really was that combo system. That combo system was actually really well done, and that felt right, and that sort of made the whole thing tolerable. And of course, just all the extra skin was the cherry on top there.
And you can't forget the horrible translations. I mean, those were awesome.
Yeah. Mhm.
I deleted that off my Xbox Live profile yesterday, and it felt so good. Brad, what do you got? 2 Human Award for inexplicable excellence.
Well, I kind of went in a different direction because to me, if I think something is excellent, that means it's good. So therefore, it can't be bad. If you know. So
This is classic Brad. He just
I know.
cannot understand what a bad game is at all.
yeah, no. So I mean, I actually, to tell you the truth, I actually didn't read the description before we came on the show. So I just fucked up my nomination. But I'll read it to you anyway, since it's really interesting. What I found to be inexplicably excellent, actually, was Section 8. I don't know if any of you guys played this. It should have been a totally generic sci-fi, third-person, multiplayer shooter. I mean, it should have been totally by the numbers forgettable. And in fact, if you look at retail performance, it was. But for being in a genre and a kind of game that I usually detest and stay far away from, I actually thought it was really well done. I mean, it was really engaging. It really kept my attention. I thought they added a lot of really excellent elements. The multiplayer actually was a blast, and I played it more than any other multiplayer game this year, and I thought it was a fantastic game. So what I expected to be a steaming forgettable pile ended up being inexplicably excellent.
All right, good choice, Brad. I like that.
Excellent attempt at a save, too.
Thank you.
Good work.
I'll read the notes next time, I promise.
Appreciate that. All right, we're short on time. I'm going to cut the developer we're most sorry to see go. Because...
Can we just name it without offering an explanation?
All right.
Bottle Rocket.
Okay, developer. All right, next category. We're going to burn through this in 30 seconds. Developer, we are most sorry to see go. And I do want to say I feel bad that we're using people losing their jobs as podcast fodder. It occurs to me just now that maybe that's not exactly classy, but nevertheless, developer we will miss the most.
But you're gonna miss them, so
We're
Yeah,
sorry to
sorry
see them go.
We are sorry. You're right, and we
happy.
lost a lot of good. We lost Pandemic, Ensemble, 3D Realms, Grin. Dan, what do you got?
Bottle Rocket.
Bottle Rocket, who we know for making.
Ark of Kree and Rise of the
Yeah.
Sun.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I missed that in my list.
Arc of what?
Mark of
Kree.
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 Oh, Mark of Kree. Mhm, yeah.
Yeah, I love that game. That's a
Me
great
too.
game.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They were the totally wrong choice for a new Splatterhouse, and it killed the studio.
Yep. Yep.
And Richard, you've got one as well.
Ensemble Studios. They made the old Age of Empires games. It was the first PC games that I really sunk my teeth into, and that's it.
Yeah, I hate that they went out on Halo Wars. I feel
Yeah.
really bad.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, just classics of the genre, the Age of Empires games, just classics, and it is a shame. So that brings us to the end of our time with Daniel and Richard, but we will not let you leave until you reveal your picks for 2009 Game of the Year. And let's begin with Richard Nyack.
Well, this was actually a very, very difficult choice just because I was actually debating this while we were recording the podcast because I really didn't know which one I wanted to pick. But in the end, and this probably won't come as any surprise since I gave it a 10, but Dragon Age Origins, it was like they were listening to every single problem that I had with Mass Effect and incorporating it into this because they took the steps forward that I wanted them to take. They fixed what I wanted them to fix, and yeah, I mean that's my game of the year for me. And a very, 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 very close second is Machinarium, which at the very last second lost out just because, yeah, it just did. I don't even know why it did, but it did. So
I got no problem with Dragon Age as your top pick, actually.
And you're talking about the PC iteration, right?
Yes, I am talking about I'm aware that the console version has issues, and I've been derided for that, but the PC version is a knockout.
Outstanding. All right, one vote for Dragon Age. Dan, what are you picking as your game of the year?
I'm picking Batman Arkham Asylum. And I'm going to tell you why. Because that's what you're expecting from me.
That is, in fact.
That is actually why
what we
I'm
are
here.
expecting to hear.
This could have been a guilty pleasure game. There are some things where you don't even have to be good, and I will like you anyway. I like Tenchu Z because it's the best. It's a terrible game, but it's the best representation of a ninja out there. I love Vampire Knight. Vampire Reign, because although it's a god-awful game, it's the best game ever about being, a commando fighting a vampire, okay? And if this had been just the best Batman being Batman game ever, I would still love it unconditionally. The fact that it's also, on its own, a great game, just, aside from the Batman stuff, it deserves to be the game of the year because it's the first superhero game ever to friggin' understand that it's not hard for a superhero to beat up punks. Okay? Going back as far as those old Superman games, I was always having my ass handed to me by a punk. And I'm like, I'm Superman.
You can actually get your ass handed to you pretty easily by groups of thugs, especially if they have guns.
My point is Batman, right? If there's 10 guys, it's a problem. But the point is, if you learn the fighting system at all, 10 guys aren't a problem because you're the goddamn Batman.
Exactly.
And it's the only game that has ever grasped that, just how much ass this character kicks. That's why I loved it. And that, and so many other reasons that we're not even going to get into, is why it deserves to be the game of the year. Not just my pick, the game of the year.
All right. Good choice.
It's a good argument. Good argument, both of you. And want to thank you for that. And at the end of the show, we will bring that back into the conversation. And who knows, one of those games might be the GameCritics.com Game of the Year. Daniel Weissenberger, Richard Nyack, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you taking time out of your weekend night to be with us, and we look forward to having you on again soon.
As always, it was my pleasure.
Yep, it was fun. Hope to do it again.
All right. Big round of applause. Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Love it.
Okay, now it's making me sad. Thank you.
Welcome back. We're very excited to welcome to the show. We've mentioned his name many times on the podcast before. One of our favorite listeners, Hargrata, who's joining us on Skype from California. Hargrata, welcome to the podcast. Great to have you.
Great to be here.
Now, I understand you have brought with you your top games of the year.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And we want to hear it. We're eager to hear it, so bring it on.
All right. Should I start from 1 or 5? Or
Start from 5.
Yeah, you gotta build the drama.
Excitement.
Build the drama.
This is entertainment and informative, so keep that in mind.
All right. Well, top 5, just games I've enjoyed most of the year, nothing fancy. My number 5 is a game I'm playing right now, Might and Magic for the DS. I'm actually really surprised how it turned out. And
Is there a subtitle to that?
Yeah, but it's like forgettable. I'll pull down my DS cart.
You're making him turn off his game, Chi. Come on, dude.
We're supposed to feed the guests softballs, not hard ones.
Yeah, he set himself up, man. You know, you can't just throw out Might and Magic. There's like 100 titles of Might and Magic, you know?
I saw that at Best Buy.
You know, one whole thing. You know, it's all one great game.
Right. It's the Might and Magic.
Yes.
The original, right?
Yeah. All black and white glory.
I've often wondered what Might and Magic means now, because there have been so many games and it's lasted so long. I mean, is there any tie to the original PC RPGs, or is it just branding at this point?
Well, from what I understand, this is a offshoot of Heroes of Might and Magic series, and supposedly it takes place before Part 5, but I'm not really up on my, what's it called?
Lore.
Yes, Heroes of Might and Magic lore.
So that's a turn-based strategy game then, right?
What, Heroes?
Yeah.
Yeah, Heroes of Might and Magic's like a turn-based strategy game. It's for the PC.
But the one you're playing, isn't that a puzzle game?
Yeah, it's totally a puzzle game. It's like
you're throwing me off again, Morgana.
well, it's like this weird hybrid. This one.
Okay. From the start, for the top, it's pretty much Puzzle Quest, and it uses a mixed-up version of the Critter Crunch puzzle mechanic.
All right, man. It's a good sell.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm not done with it yet, and it's actually really hard, and you gotta like get some levels to get anywhere. But I'm really liking it. I'm really digging it. It's scratching that Puzzle Quest itch that some reason nobody's been able to scratch until now.
Including the Puzzle Quest creators themselves with Galactrix.
Too true.
So, number 4 on your list.
Number 4 is Flower for PSN. You're all aware of that.
Nice choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need to go really deeply into it. I just really loved it. And I played it again recently, especially the level where you're painting the ground. And it's like, why don't, they need to make more of this because it's so great.
All right.
Number 3, Hargrada.
Number 3, Dragon Quest V.
Oh, that's a real good choice.
Yeah, from way back from the NES or Super NES actually.
Is it me or in all the Dragon Quests from 3 to 5? Do you always get stuck and then you just stop playing the game?
No, I finished.
Really? That's happened to me in all from 3 to 5. I always just get stuck at some point, man.
Oh, I didn't get stuck. I haven't played 3 in a long time, but I played 4 and then I played 5, and 5 is just a really great RPG in general, and probably going to end up being one of my top JRPGs. And it's such an old RPG too, so but it's never come out over here, so it counts.
Yeah.
It's a nice throwback to what was so great about the 16-bit era RPGs.
Most definitely.
It's just very nostalgic and simple, and it's not overly complicated like every fucking JRPG now. It's just very nice and laid back. Great game.
Yeah, every RPG now.
Yeah, there are no 3-hour tutorials or stupid acronyms for combat systems or any of that. It's just pick from the menu.
Trees or whatever.
Yeah.
Fight still just means attack, That's it.
Yeah, but one of the things about this, these games and Dragon Quest games in general is that, the status effects that you can get as spells are actually useful in battle. So it's more than just press fight 10 times and you win or something.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right.
For number
All right.
Number 2 would be, I forgot. Punch Out.
Very memorable, right?
No, it's just Starstruck.
Stop. Punch Out.
Yes, with a Wii.
I completely forgot that came out this year. I kept meaning to play it and never got around to it. What struck you as wonderful?
Bye. No.
What struck you as so great about Punch Out?
Well, the formula works. I mean, it's great. I was actually surprised. I mean, it helps that we haven't seen a Punch Out game in a decade, but I'm just, because after all it is just like a straight up timing-based puzzle game where
Right.
you just throw punches where you see openings and memorize their patterns and everything. But it's just a lot of fun just mastering the fights and seeing how the enemies react to you, and not to mention the presentation itself where they all speak their native language, all the fighters, and they don't subtitle it, so you got to guess what they're saying.
Was that intentional, or they just they got?
See, I was gonna say, see, I'm such a cynic. I'd say, oh, fucking Nintendo, so cheap. They can't even subtitle the dialogue for me.
Right. These days, yeah.
No, I don't think it's. I think it's intentional. I think they did it to, because if you were there in the Punch-Out ring, you wouldn't automatically understand there are no subtitles.
Right.
Good point.
Now, Hargrada, I don't know how old you are. We're all incredibly old. We're ancient on this podcast.
Ancient.
But did you play the original Punch-Out like back in the day?
Oh yeah.
And how does that compare? I mean, I've heard it's basically the same. It's the same thing, just upgraded.
Well, it's a remake. So,
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it is the same game, literally.
So there you go.
It's a mix between Punch-Out and Super Punch-Out. So they got some stuff from the original and stuff from the sequel in there.
Excellent. And that takes us to Hargrada's number one game of 2009. Hit us with it.
All right, now Brad's gonna be really excited about this. So I'm gonna go ahead say Demon's Souls.
Oh, man, after my own heart.
There we go.
Woohoo! I'm excited too.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Kingsfield games. Number 2 is like one of my top favorite games of all time, and this one is pretty much just like a third-person Kingsfield for the most part, and I just loved it to death.
Damn, Brad, we gotta start a Kingsfield podcast now.
Yeah.
I mean, all three of us love Kingsfield. I mean,
Right.
we just have to get Tim on board.
Yay, Kingsfield! Woo! You press buttons and things.
Yeah, let's not talk about Demon's Souls. Let's talk about Kingsfield. All right.
So yeah, you guys and your Demon Souls. My goodness. I'm gonna have to get a PS3 now.
Yeah,
Yes.
seriously. No excuse.
No excuse. So Hargrada, clearly you're an RPG guy. I mean, clearly. You were playing Shiren the Wanderer, weren't you? At some point.
Yes.
That was your big game for a while.
Yeah, that was my number 1 game when it came out for that year. I think it was last year.
Can you save me if I send you a password or something?
Yes.
All right.
He actually saved me. He saved my entire Shiren experience. If it wasn't for Hargrada, I never would have finished that game. I still owe him a cup of coffee for it too. I never actually bought you that coffee, dude.
Yeah, I know. It freaked me out. I saved somebody, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta talk to you." I'm like, "What?"
Wanted to say thanks, man. I was so appreciative.
Yeah, it's a great game. I'm looking forward to the Wii version coming out next year.
So
upcoming pick 2010. Nice.
So Hargrada, any final thoughts on the year? Any overarching themes or anything else you wanted to mention before we wrap up
Anything
our time
you
together?
hated?
Yeah,
you
anything
just hated something.
Well, I wouldn't call hate, but I played Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, snap.
This is gold.
I will tell you.
I'm
I will.
not gonna sit here and take a dump on it or anything, but
I literally just stood up. I just want you to know that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I played it and everybody was like, "Oh my god, this is so awesome!" And I played it and it's like, yeah, okay, it's like a nice little game. Put 6 hours in, finished it, and it's like not even, I don't even remember it. It's just another game. I kind of don't understand the love.
Classic, man. And that's classic. I'm so glad you came on tonight, dude.
But
that made your appearance totally worthwhile.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was good before, but that just put it over the top.
At 6 hours, you've only just begun. You've barely unlocked all the mini games. You haven't unlocked the survival mode yet, which is where the real challenge and the real strategy comes into play. You don't have all the aquariums yet. You've really only scratched the surface at 6 hours. The beauty of that game is everything that comes after you finish it.
Damn, Tim,
Okay.
guns blazing. Guns blazing.
That's always the retort of guys when you don't like a game that they loved is, well, you just didn't get deep enough. It gets 100 times better if you'd have played 5 more minutes.
I say that every week. It seems like that's my defense of Borderlands too. Is, well, you didn't play 15 hours. Why didn't you play 15 hours of it? Then you'd know.
Yeah, Brad, what's up?
And too
I
human.
know. I only sat through 12 hours of boredom. If I had made that 13th hour, the whole thing would have turned around for me. So.
It's
All
magical.
right, we have to hear Hargrada's retort here. So what you got?
My what?
I mean, your counter here
My counter?
to what Tim said.
Oh, well, I don't want to play it anymore. It's got nothing.
Simple as that. Simple
Same
as that.
answer. Same answer. Yeah.
It's hard to argue that. You just didn't want to play it anymore. It depresses me a little bit, but you weren't charmed by it. You didn't find, the unlocking of the different plants. You weren't interested to see what the more advanced plant weaponry was like, and unlocking the more advanced zombies. None of that interested you at all.
No, I mean, I beat the game, but it's just
No.
after I beat it, it was just walk away, put it down. There was nothing there.
You took your first step into a larger world.
Give it up, dude.
I beat the
Give
game.
it up. This is a different podcast. You didn't like the fucking game. Let it go.
Fair enough.
It's only $5, so I mean, it's not like.
All right. That's fair. Hargrada, thank you so much for joining us. Any final thoughts before we say goodnight? We want to make sure we give you a plug. Do you have a website you'd like to plug, your Twitter account, anything so that people can keep in touch with you?
I'm on my Twitter's Hargrada, and I don't have a website or anything like that. But final thoughts is, yeah, it's great to be here on the We Hate podcast. Love to.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, Hargrada, you're welcome back anytime, and thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate it.
Sure, keep plugging them out, and I'll keep listening to them.
Well, Dave, we are joined now by David Stone, who is violently ill, who's up far past his bedtime. And David, I don't know if you want to talk about this on really North America's favorite podcast, but
why don't we just go for the Northern Hemisphere's favorite podcast and just call it a day? We'll cover a lot more ground that way.
yeah, I think so. I think you're probably right. But a big event happening in your life right now. Do you want to tell us about it?
Well, with that kind of setup, how can I not?
Right.
Aaron and I are expecting our first child in April.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we know it's a boy.
Oh, hey, nice.
So we got a guy ready to, do, some shmup action. I'll teach him how to play Street Fighter 2. He'll know how to do a Hadouken before he can actually speak.
Street Fighter 2 of all
He's
games.
got to start with the basic elements, right, and then work his way up.
I was thinking, this has been this year a very fertile podcast. I had a son, Brad had a son. David, you and Aaron were on the show in August, I think.
That's right.
You both appeared simultaneously, and I'm not saying that the show somehow caused your pregnancy to happen, but I would like to take some credit for it.
Conception happened right after that segment.
Tim, I don't want you taking any pregnancy. I'm sorry.
All right.
However, we were pregnant at the time, so I'll bet the vibes of that podcast were why we have a son too. So there you go.
That's probably what it was. Well, congratulations. We can't wait to hear all about him. He could be, if he's born in April, my son was born on April 15th. So we're going to have, maybe he'll have the same birthday, and then we'll be bonded that way as well.
That'd be cool. Due date's April 21st, so weirder things have happened.
That's right. That's right. So, David, again, congratulations on that. Now, we are burning through categories like there's no tomorrow. We've been doing, I think we're now into our 8th hour of the show. So we're going to try to get through these as quickly as possible.
All right.
Do you have the list of categories in front of you?
Yes, I do, and my answers as well.
Outstanding. So the next category we've got, and David, I'm going to let you kick this off. And by the way, if there's something you don't have an answer for, let me know. But
you know me, I have an answer for everything.
We're going to start with the best argument for abandoning discs.
Well,
David?
that's an easy one, actually. This year, no doubt, Shadow Complex on Xbox Live Arcade. It was one of the most complete, it felt like a retail game. I only downloaded it. And I'm not talking about, oldies but goodies like Castlevania Symphony of the Night appearing, or these nice indie games or anything like that. This was a full-fledged release that never saw retail. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Ditto 100%, Matt. It's my pick as well, Dave.
Cool.
Well, it's not my pick. My pick is Torchlight. I'm not a fan of downloading anything. I like physical media, but I like Torchlight a lot, and it made me happy I downloaded it. And I'll leave it at that because I talked to death about it last show.
Yeah, we talked about Shadow Complex and Torchlight on this show quite a bit, actually, and those two plus Splosion Man are my picks. I'm not sure there has been a better year for downloadable stuff.
I think
agree?
a big part of that is they finally gotten rid of all the caps. Now that most consoles are having 120 gig, 250 gig, or I've been hearing some interesting rumors that they might be going to cloud storage eventually. That, back in the day when we first got our PSP, they gave us, a 32 megabyte memory stick?
Yeah.
I mean, how far we've come in such a short time for storage.
Yeah.
But I think the initial cap was a good thing, though. It kind of, kept them focused, and then a couple of guys branched out. But if they didn't have a cap right from the start, you can imagine how much more even crazier it would have been.
Yeah, I know. We wouldn't have had 50 releases of Gauntlet again. I mean, gosh, what would we have done?
Ouch.
Nice.
Sorry, Shadow Complex for me was the turning point for me for Xbox Live Arcade. Other than, great old re-releases, some good old arcade games like Mortal Kombat 2, which didn't age as well as I'd hoped, or Symphony of the Night, which will never get old. Shadow Complex really showed that downloadable games, especially when they're well supported by the big guys. Shadow Complex, as was supported by Cliff Bleszinski and supported by Microsoft. I think it really helped to show what the future of downloadable gaming can be. But I'm still with Mike. I like my discs.
Hey, Dave, I just got to say, Mortal Kombat didn't age well 1 week after it was released on the arcade.
I've wasted so many hours playing that Super Nintendo Mortal Kombat 2. Don't you dare insult my childhood, G.
All right, we'll save it for another one, man.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's. I think we hit everybody there. So let's move on to our next category. It's the most promising new franchise, and I'm just going to say Borderlands and let you guys go nuts. So, Brad, why don't you kick us off on this one?
Sure. First, I would like to totally disagree with you, but getting on to what my actual pick was, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I do want to call Batman out again. And thankfully, they already have actually announced a new sequel. They just announced it a few weeks ago. So based on what we saw in Arkham Asylum, it seemed to me like there was like an infinite amount of possibilities. I mean, with all the Batman stories that have been written over the years and the different ways that the formula Rocksteady introduced could be applied to different situations, it seems to me like this is the start of something beautiful. So I'm looking forward to at least a couple really great Batman sequels.
Chi, how about you?
It's going to be UFC 2009 Undisputed. mixed martial arts has really been rising in popularity over the last decade. The timing was just really right, and they did an awesome job. I mean, any fan of mixed martial arts, it's hard not to just fall in love with this game. I mean, not only is the striking really great and accessible, but the ground game is just so complex, so well done, and I'm looking forward to future iterations of this one.
Do you think there'd be any serious competition from the EA MMA title?
There's a lot of talk about that, and apparently it's supposed to be really good also. So I think there is going to be some competition, but I think it's going to end up being like Coke and Pepsi. You know, Coke was first, and that's what everyone's always going to remember. No matter what Pepsi does, they're never going to catch up. You know, so and there's also talk that they may end up just selling the license to EA because they're the bigger company than THQ. But who knows whether that's going to play out or not.
Time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Bracken, what do you think?
I went with Ion. I don't even particularly like Ion, but, you know, I like MMOs, and this game is sort of the World of Warcraft styled clone from NC Soft, and it manages to rip off like just enough things that Blizzard's game does really well to make it instantly familiar to all the noobs out there who are like tired of hanging out in Stormwind Castle. But it also brings some new wrinkles to the formula as well. I didn't play long enough to get like to the end game or anything like that, but videos that a friend has shown me are pretty impressive, so I'll give it that. And basically in a market where everyone's competing to be in second place, Ion kind of looks like it's got the legs to maybe take that spot. We're definitely going to see some expansions and stuff like that, and it really is probably the most impressive new MMO we've seen in a while. I don't think it's going to go like Age of Conan or Lord of the Rings or anything like that. I think it's going to actually build an audience.
God damn, Mike, you got too much time in your hands. One more.
I don't play. I played the beta, the Chinese beta for a while, and I got to like level 20, and that was enough. But I played long enough to know what it's about, and I have a friend who plays it still, and he sends me all these fucking videos because he's always trying to get me to play, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to have a life here, not like have another fucking MMO to play. So
Right.
but it it's pretty, and it's very familiar if you've played World of Warcraft, and that can be a plus or a minus. For me it was a minus because I'm like, why do I want to do shit that I did in World of Warcraft again at like level 10, and when I can go play one of my level 80s on that game. So, but other people like it because you can just hop right in and it's very, very familiar, and then it does sort of become its own game later, from what I understand.
And finally, David Stone, most promising new franchise.
Well, Brad and I think way too much alike, because I totally agree with you about the Batman franchise. I think what Rocksteady did was absolutely fantastic, except for their combat system, which I know they're going to fix for the second one. I think the fact that they brought in real writers and real voice actors helped to bring those characters to life in a way that none of the other Batman games have ever done. I loved the art style. I know some people didn't like it. I thought it was fantastic. But my other things I'd like to see more of is I'd love to see more of Mad World, because that game was just some messed up shit, and I want more. Like, there's nothing else to say. I mean, it's beyond wanton violence. It's one of the most gory, bloody, satisfying games I've played, I think, since Dead Rising, as far as Bloodlust is concerned. And I have to admit, the black and white kind of, I was sold on that art style. I don't know why. It really grabbed me. I think especially with the red, contrasting against it. And the other game I'd like. Sorry, go ahead.
Didn't it only sell like 20,000 copies or something really tiny like that?
Yes, and I and 19,999 other people probably want more because of it.
Yeah.
It's one of the games that should have sold more. I wouldn't put it quite in the same league as like Beyond Good and Evil Disappointment, but it'd be cool. And
I'd like to see it on another console, actually.
Well, given what they're doing with Mr. Travis Touchdown, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe one day they'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
And just because I know we want to keep moving, the other thing is Scribblenauts. I'd love to see if they can take that interesting idea, triple the dictionary, stop having so many things be duplications, and have the solutions be a little less arbitrary.
Right. No, I'm surprised that wasn't mentioned sooner for this one. Yeah.
The idea. Imagine a sandbox world where you just build anything and everything, then the game just throws stuff at you, and you just have to solve it, not level by level, but an entire game, like an entire world.
I think I meant when we did our Scribblenauts talk, I think I mentioned the same thing was kind of an open world. This is a concept that needs to be on something other than the DS to fully realize its potential. And so, yeah, I think great concept, terrible execution, and I don't think it's turned me off completely, but I'm not dying for another one. But let's look at the flip side of this. Let's look at the flip side of most promising new franchise. We call this one the Nail in the Coffin Award. This goes to the franchise that, because of its most recent release, we think probably should either take a rest or go away forever. David, I'm going to let you start on this one. Nail in the Coffin for 2009.
And I think I'm going to shock the hell out of you guys with this one. Guitar Hero and Rock Band have to go away.
Dude, that was my second pick.
That's mine too.
And the reason why, Guitar Hero 5 and Rock Band Green Day. Like, what? What? Okay, hang on, wait. I'm still getting over the fact that Nickelback was picked as the Billboard's top band of the decade. What? Rock Band fucking Green Day. What? Sorry, that's all I can think of to say about this. All I'm thinking here is, I mean, Harmonix, you know I love you. You know we have a history. But I think you guys need to take all the money that has been given to you, give it to all of your employees, go retire, and stop. I'm like, this is shark jumping at its worst.
David, I wanted to ask you, because we haven't had you on since Rock Band Beatles came out, but Rock Band was the whole music genre was my choice for this, and I kind of feel like the Beatles were kind of a pivotal release in that for a long time it was, whoever got the Beatles wins the war between Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Whoever got the Beatles was, that's the one that everyone was waiting for. And now that game has come out, and it was good. It was a good game, but I kind of feel like now that we've had the Beatles, what else is there? What is you got the Rolling Stones, maybe Bruce Springsteen. For me,
or evidently Green Day.
Evidently Green Day. For me, it's Huey Lewis and the News. I mean,
I think, you know what? There are a few who would be decent. I think something like a U2 would be good. I think a Red Hot Chili Peppers would be unbe-fucking-leavable, if only for the fact that the population couldn't play half the tunes. I think what they need to do is do this as DLC. By all means, go ahead and do downloadable content. You want to release all of Green Day's albums one at a time, go nuts. But the Beatles Rock Band, the idea of them being an individual game is because the Beatles are, for better or for worse, a cut above every other band that's ever come out. And unfortunately, it's hard to dispute that. I know that it can be done, but it's sort of like disputing Beethoven or Mozart. It's going to be one of those bands that will stand the test of time. So, of course, something that's sacred, like you said, that was sort of the Holy Grail. To give Green Day, think about what Guitar Hero countered that with. They countered it with Guitar Hero Metallica, and they were too pussy to even have Metallica be the only thing on the disc.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe Rock Band Green Day will be like an exploration of the punk genre, and they're just branding it with Green Day. No,
they want money.
It's just going to be Green Day. Maybe the first album, but nothing else for me. Let's see. Let's go on to Chi, Nail in the Coffin Award.
This might generate a little bit of controversy, but my pick is Street Fighter 4. I think when you're talking about Street Fighter 3 and talking about all the Street Fighter alphas and whatever else they put out there, you kind of always said, oh, well, that's just Capcom being Capcom, always doing their little iteration thing. But then when Street Fighter 4 came out, that was like the one where like they put they put everything behind that one, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna like relaunch this sucker, and it comes out and it's like the same goddamn thing again, and yeah, it looks great, but really it's the same fucking game. I mean, come on, and it just when I started playing it, it just became so blatantly obvious how like. When you come up with, when you have these guys make up all these characters, right? Inevitably, like 3 of them are gonna rock, and everyone else is gonna suck. And it just became so blatantly obvious how, like, certain guys are just so maxed out, and other guys are just gimped out, like they're barely even trying anymore. So, yeah, this one to me was like, yeah, nail in the coffin.
Good choice. Good choice. I like both picks so far. Brad, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to have to second She's Street Fighter 4. For everything that she said, and on top of that, I mean, it just, where else can the fighting genre go? I mean, it's like we've got this structure, and I mean, to be perfectly frank, I'm a Street Fighter fan. I mean, I used to love it, and it's been done. I mean, it's reached the top of where it can go, and there's nowhere else to go. So I think they just need to just let it go. Just don't go back to it. I mean, the thing that really pissed me off specifically about 4 was the last boss was like, it was cheap beyond all belief, and then I just read recent interviews saying that for the next update that they're doing to it, they're making him even harder. And it's like, that to me says you guys are going in the wrong direction. I didn't like the new characters. Honestly, I didn't like the art even. I didn't like it that much. And it didn't capture any of the old magic for me. I had a great time with Street Fighter when it was hot and when it was big, and I will always have those memories of it, but they need to let it go. I don't see where it can go in any more positive directions from here. It's done.
It captured all the worst parts in that. Like, I had to spend like an hour just trying over and over again to beat that last boss.
It was miserable. I hated it. It turned me off of the game completely. So I'm done with it.
And also, no more unlocking of characters. For God's sakes, just let me play. I don't know. It started enough. You have to play through the game 12 times in order to unlock everything. No, just give me the damn characters.
That's not happening. That's not happening.
I know.
What I learned about myself from Street Fighter 4 is that I can only pull off special moves when I'm standing on the left side of the screen. I can't do it from the right side, and that makes it very difficult to play multiplayer. Thank you. Mike, nail in the coffin award.
I just wanted to say before I got to mine, I wondered if anybody else found it ironic that Chi was bitching about a series with repetitive iterations and repetitive gameplay when he sticks up for fucking Dynasty Warriors every week.
Nice.
Anyway.
Some people are in abusive relationships.
Anyway, my choice
You got to
was,
give me another show for that one, Mike.
Yeah, I know. My choice was Tony Hawk, the Tony Hawk series. How have we gone from the original first 4 Pro Skater games to Tony Hawk's Ride? Let's just be honest. Tony, you're rich. Let it go. You don't need the money anymore. You had a nice video game legacy with those first 4 games, and then you went in and hooked up with Bam Margera and made those fucking stupid spin-off games, and now you're just totally grasping at straws. Let it go. It's over. We don't want to play these games anymore. They're terrible. Stop, please. And I second.
There's also Skate, right? The better series.
But yeah, Skate is actually what Tony Hawk's games should be now, and what they used to be taken to the next generation. The Tony Hawk games are just terrible, so I just wish they'd quit. And I'm totally with you guys on the whole Rock Band Guitar Hero thing. It's really sad to watch how the game industry can take something that was like 2 or 3 years ago was like amazingly awesome, and like already now, just a few short years later, we're all sick to death of it because they've run it into the ground to make money from it. It's just disappointing.
Very good. Very good. Let's move on. Our next category is the internet has no idea what they're talking about. It's you versus 5 million fanboys. Take a stand. Tell them why they're wrong. And we'll start here with Brad Gallaway.
All right. I had a lot of things to choose from, and it was really tough for me to pick just one. But if I had to pick one thing that really stuck in my craw more than anything else this year, it would be the way that Uncharted 2, which I found to be a beautiful game, technically, but soulless and really boring. The thing that I hate about it is that people are saying that the story and characters are so great. They're so compelling. They're so well written. Like, people are holding up Uncharted 2 as an example of quality game writing, and I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. There's a couple okay scenes where they perhaps didn't fall prey to female stereotypes, which I actually do applaud them for, but that's not the same thing as saying this game is well written, or that it's interesting, or that these characters are relatable, or like they have any substance to them at all. I mean, it's strictly B-movie stuff that's there to keep the ultra contrived plot moving forward, and I just have no idea. Whenever somebody says, "Oh, I love the characters, I love the story, this is what games should be about," it's like we're playing completely different games. I don't know what they're even talking about.
Brad, man, you totally stole my my game
Oh,
right
sorry,
there too,
dude.
man. No, it's perfect actually, man. Yeah, I'm right there with you, buddy, man. The Uncharted 2, it's like, if I really wanted to watch a movie, I'll do that. I don't need to play a game that's like a movie, and in a lot of ways is not as good as a movie. It's in the episode before where we talked about all the stuff that makes a game compelling. To me, Uncharted 2 has none of these things. The characters, so they sort of talk like they're in movies, and they have somewhat casual conversations, but that doesn't make it interesting dialogue. That doesn't make them fascinating. That doesn't make it engaging. In fact, the only thing interesting about, not even interesting, but the only outstanding trait about Nathan Drake is that he doesn't think too far ahead. Wow. That's so deep. An action hero who jumps head first. Where have I heard that before?
So human. He's an everyman.
Yeah, exactly. And the classic case also with the so-called love triangle, whatever. I didn't even see why he ends up picking who he picks at the end. I guess I won't give that away, but they sort of decide, okay, well, since you're here, I'll just stay with you. And I'm like, okay, this is the level of deep writing we're talking about here. They never even justify their relationship, and to me, a better game would let the player choose. That's what video games are about.
I was kind of surprised that didn't come out. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised it didn't, seeing as how that whole movie is like completely scripted start to finish. But, part of my brain was just what you were saying was like I kept waiting for the moment where you get to choose. And, at the very least, I kept thinking that, the bad guy was going to hold a gun to one or the other, and then you would have to choose, which to me would have been a pretty cool moment. And, man, they totally didn't go for that in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, whiffed that one, Naughty Dog.
Swing and a miss.
Mike, what about you?
I didn't actually get a chance to play through all of Uncharted 2, although I did play it, so I can't jump on that bandwagon, although I think the points they raise are valid. I went a different way again. I went with Killzone 2.
Good choice.
I was looking on Metacritic before we came on just to double check. This game has like 1,400 scores over there. And like Brad is asking, I keep wondering to myself, do we all play the same fucking game? Before you start sending me hate mail, I'm not saying that Killzone 2 is a bad game. I think it's an above-average console first-person shooter. But it has some really dodgy controls. The story and characters are so uninteresting that basically going through the game is just an exercise in shooting things in the face, not because I give a shit about this guy I'm supposed to be or any of the guys in my squad or this overarching story that's going on. All I can think is that maybe people like it for the multiplayer or something like that, and that's fine if you do. I don't play multiplayer. I like single player experiences. But if you like it for the multiplayer and you're like basically reviewing it and then the single player still sucks, shouldn't that figure into the score somehow? And the last comment I had about it was, yeah, the graphics are great, but how about a little more color besides brown and fucking gray? You've got the PS3, it has all this power. All I hear about is how gorgeous this game's graphics are, blah, blah, blah. Everything's fucking brown or gray. Boring. Like I said, above average console shooter, just not like the second coming like everybody made it out to be earlier this year when it came out.
I'd like to throw in a Modern Warfare 2 along those lines as well, man. I'm really getting tired of these games that like throw you in the middle of the shit, and it's happening so many times now. Yeah, I get it. It's war is really chaotic, and you're getting shot at all over the place. How many times am I gonna have to experience this and think this is a great game? It's enough already.
Right.
And the funny thing is, you end up shooting, most of the time, you just end up shooting at little dots anyway. You can barely see who you're shooting at because it's so crazy. What's so fun about that? I really don't get it, man.
I don't really get Modern Warfare 2 either, but I just concluded a long time ago that realistic military shooters just don't appeal to me, so I leave it at that. But I do generally like the futuristic sci-fi shooters, like the kind of Killzones, Halos, stuff like that, but Killzone 2 just didn't really do anything for me. Like I said, I don't hate it. I just don't think it's quite as great as everybody made it out to be.
And finally, David, where do you and the internet come to blows?
Well, there's a little bit of the Modern Warfare 2 thing, and I'm just going to one-sentence this and just say, no Russians equals no controversy. Just get over yourselves. It's not that bad, and it's also not that smart.
Here's what I love about that sequence, about the controversy. And this is just a special message from me to Infinity Ward. If you put up a disclaimer at the start of your controversial sequence that says, what you're about to see is controversial, it ceases to be controversial.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, they did that specifically to get press. I know they say it's part of the plot. If you can skip it, it's not that important.
The plot barely makes sense anyway. You're just jumping from like one scene to the next. There's barely, I know there's a connection, but you barely feel it. The continuity is just all messed up in that game anyway.
There's continuity. Well, at least you could even start saying there's continuity. Good for you.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to nail down was Halo 3 ODST. Enough. Halo's not that good. I'm sorry. Get over it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say,
talking.
I saw that for 1999, and I said, hey, no thanks.
And 10 years later.
So, anyway, let's move on, and we're running really, really long, so we need to blow through these quickly. Best argument for games as art. Chi, I'm going to start with you, and I bet I know what you're going to say.
Yep, the awesome flower. And nothing more to add to that. We talked about it extensively on the show already. Kudos to Genova Chen and for getting the award at the Spike VGA. So that was fun to watch, and that's it.
I feel like we helped catapult him to his fame.
Clearly it was all us.
Yeah.
I went with Flower as well. I think it's like Zen meditation in video game form. Just when I think that I don't believe that games should be art, or maybe that they can be art, Flower is the one thing that kind of puts a kink in that argument for me.
Yeah, I'll second that. It was my pick as well. I mean, is there really anything else that makes the argument as concisely and as effectively as Flower does this year? I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but that is far and away the one that proves the case this year for me anyway.
Oh, good. I get to be different again.
Excellent.
I've got a couple of games that maybe you didn't think about. I've actually become a big fan of the Bit Trip series, just by being minimalist yet making music and awesomeness. And it for me, it's very zen as well, because based on what the music's doing, I kind of zone into the game and I just stop thinking about it. Another good one, it's also free. These are a couple that maybe you guys didn't know about. One of them is called Auditorium. I don't know if any of you guys even heard of this one.
Nope,
it was
never
Flash. Oh, well, it's a Flash game. You can play the first few levels online for free. And it's actually a really decent sort of music zen-making game that you really should check out. And another one, which I've been bugging Brad to play for months, is another thing called And Yet It Moves.
Oh, yeah. I saw the trailer. It looked really fantastic. But, man, I have such an aversion to PC games sometimes. I got to get over that.
And so do I. Dude, it's coming to the Wii in January. And it is going to make you question the true definition of what a platforming game is.
If it's coming to the Wii, then I'll wait. You just close the case for me. I'll hold off then.
For sure. No, they just announced it, so it's going to make waves.
All right, we're closing in on it. Now, before we get to the game of the year, we have to do the reverse. And that is, of course, the worst game of the year, or as we like to call it, the Steaming Pile Award. And if you don't mind, I'm going to go first here because I have to get this out. The worst game of the year was Star Trek DAC, which is an Xbox Live downloadable title. I know it's also on the PC now. First of all, this is the worst game title probably in the history of games. DAC stands for the game modes: Deathmatch, Assault, and Conquest. They just took the game modes to make an acronym out of it. I mean, what?
Wow.
And it's basically a top-down starship combat game, much in the vein of the Wing Commander and Battlestar Galactica XBLA games, which are equally as bad. Somebody at Paramount is killing themselves over not getting out a good Star Trek game to capitalize on what I guess was the unexpected success of that movie. They've got Star Trek Online coming out in February, and I am looking forward to that. But Star Trek DAC, it's just a festering pile of tribble poop. I mean, it's just awful. So that is my vote. I will turn it over to Mike Bracken.
All right. I kind of tipped my hand a little bit earlier talking about Tony Hawk's Ride. The Steaming Pile of the Year award for me is, in fact, Tony Hawk's Ride. I spent 45 minutes with that game this week, and that was 43 minutes more than I needed to figure out that it was a broken piece of shit. I have seen people in comas who are more responsive than that fucking skateboard controller. Tony Hawk should be ashamed of himself. They should fucking give everybody who bought this broken piece of crap game their money back. Awful, inexcusable garbage.
Let's go to Chi Kong Lu.
I don't know if I call this a steaming pile per se, but my pick is the Conduit on the Wii. And,
wow. Was not expecting that.
I was not either.
Good call, though. Good call. I second that.
Yeah, and even on the show, I said it was like, playable, as if that was a great quality to a game. Yeah, it's playable. But
it's able to be played.
It works.
It loaded
up. It comes on.
It works, but just given what all the hype behind it, and given how generic the whole thing was, yeah, to me it was just like, yeah, this is a pretty awful game, and it was just it just reeked of like disappointment all around.
My favorite, I still remember fondly when I asked you, what is the Conduit? And the answer is, it's just like a portal.
Right.
Like, oh, wow. That's great.
Way to hang your entire game off of this thing.
And that pretty much sums up like my whole feeling of the game, that right there, yeah.
So, David, worst game of the year.
I'm actually going to go with worst people of the year. And I got to go with about 99% of the third-party games on the Wii. I mean, why do they have to suck? I actually went ahead and looked at some of the games that are coming out, not even in the past year, because I don't want to give any shout-outs to games that have already come out. Check this list. Cold Stone Creamery, scoop it up. I'm serious,
dude. This is like deja vu.
All the work of scooping ice cream with none of the reward. Playmobil Circus. You don't actually go buy your kids the toys that give them imagination. Give them the virtual ones. Walk It Out, the new fitness game from Konami. That either you walk out to buy the game, which proves it's pointless, or you ordered it up from Amazon specifically so you don't have to leave your house, in which case you have worse things to worry about than a fitness game.
I hope there's a spin-off called Pound It Out.
Oh. Dude. Followed by leaving your kids at the pool. Daniel X, The Ultimate Power. A simulation game called Girls' Life Sleepover Party. Yeah, that'll go over well. Chicken Riot Game Party 4. That's what it's called. Game Party. There also was a Game Party 1, 2, and 3 I'd never heard of. And quite frankly, just all credit to former game critic Scott Jones. Anything with the word family, party, or fun in the title. If it needs to have any of those descriptors in it, then it's probably lying. And to prove the point, the last numbered Mario Party game came out in 2007, so even Nintendo figured it out that it's a bad.
Whatever happened to Bob Ross's Joy of Painting game that we were talking? I still want that one.
But you see, it's going to come out as Bob Ross's Painting Family Fun.
That's true. They're probably remarketing it. The saddest thing about this is like, did you guys see the Dante's Inferno viral video for the Wii game, the Wii Pray thing? It was online. So basically it was this game where you put your Wiimote in a crucifix type thing, and you did like swinging the center thing and praying and all this stuff. And the saddest thing about it was that it actually looked real. You could totally accept that this was some shit that some third-party developer would put out for the Wii. Look it up on YouTube. It's called
You're
Wii
exactly
Pray.
Right.
And you'll look at it and you in your brain that this is probably bullshit, but you see so much shit that gets put out on the Wii that it's like totally plausible that this thing.
It's funny you said that, dude, because I didn't realize that was a Dante's Inferno video.
Yeah,
it was a
viral video for Dante's.
Oh man, I totally thought that was a real game.
So did I when I saw it. I'm like, wow, it looks like shit, but what else would I expect from Nintendo at this point? So yeah, amazing.
And I believe that leaves you, Mr. Gallaway, worst game of 2009.
Well, I have two call-outs real quick. One which we've already mentioned, which is Muramasa. I mean, that game was terrible, but the reason it wasn't as terrible as some other things I've played, but the reason I'm calling it out is that it had the biggest disparity between how good it actually was compared to how good people said it was. And it was just like, it was nowhere even near remotely a fraction as good as people were saying it was. I had a terrible experience with it. And I think it was made even more terrible by the fact that I was expecting something that was actually decent. But in terms of being actually the worst, I think I probably would have to pick Fairy Tale Fights. I was, I didn't expect anything out of this title, and boy, did I not even get that. I mean, it was so terrible. You just walk from left to right. You beat up these characters. There was no imagination, and the worst thing about it was that they mapped the combat to the right stick, so that after like 20, 30 minutes, my right thumb was like swollen, red, and sore. Like, I mean, you don't ever like bang your thumb around that much in any case, over the span of a human lifetime, and here I am, like, I'm wearing out my thumb joint for this stupid game. So it was terrible.
That brings us at long last to the 2009 Game of the Year. Now, we already had Dan's pick, Batman Arkham Asylum. Richard picked Dragon Age Origins. So let's go around in turn. Chi, as Game Critics founder and owner, I will give you first crack at this. What is your 2009 Game of the Year?
Sure. I think I had a lot of respect for Dragon Age Origins, and that one came pretty close for me. And it was kind of a tight race, but in the end, I think for me, it's going to be Demon Souls. Just that, because that game just did things that were much more different than any other games that we've seen in a long time, and it was just such classic gameplay as well. They didn't need any gimmicks, although they had things that you could call gimmicks, it didn't feel gimmicky, and it was just classic, gameplay, action, role playing, and it felt great.
So a vote for Demon Souls. I have a feeling it's not going to be our last vote. Let's go to Brad Gallaway for his pick.
Well, before I give you my pick, I also want to remind you that we did have Hargrata on, and as a board member that we all respect, we should give his vote some credence as well. He picked Demon Souls, and I have to say that I totally agree with him, and I also agree with Chi. Demon Souls by a large margin over anything else that came out this year. For everything that Hargrata said, everything that Chi said, and the thing that I will add is that it displayed such an incredible level of mastery. I mean, the people at From Software, I mean, I'm a huge From fan from way back, but this was them at like the absolute top of their game. This is them at their full powers. This is them doing things that nobody else has done or even attempted to do. And they not only attempted it, but succeeded. I mean, this game was head and shoulders above everything else this year in terms of production, in terms of imagination, in terms of originality. I mean, it was the end-all, be-all for me this year. Nothing else even came close.
Another vote for Demon Souls. I apologize to Hargrata. I think his Plants vs. Zombies comment made me, forget that entire thing happened, but very well. Let's go on to Mike Bracken. Your Game of the Year, sir.
I'm actually bummed to be voting because I didn't get to play Demon Souls or Dragon Age. I played a lot of stuff for this show in the past 2 weeks, and unfortunately those were two titles I didn't get to spend time with, and I suspect that if I had gotten to play Demon Souls, that would have probably been my vote. But since I didn't, I can't vote for it in good conscience, and instead I will have to take a more unconventional path in picking my Game of the Year. And this is a really off-the-wall choice, but it was a game that I loved and was really excited for and gave a glowing review at the site. But my vote would be for the new version of Persona on the PSP from Atlas. They've taken a game that a lot of people missed out on, but yet everybody loves Mega 10 now. They cleaned it up. They gave us back the Snow Queen quest that we had never had access to here in America. They finally put the difficulty back up where it was supposed to be. And as a guy who is finding myself increasingly more tired and bored of Japanese RPGs, as blasphemous as that is for me to say, this was one of the few Japanese RPGs experiences I've had in the past year or so that was like really exciting to me. So that would be my vote.
Unusual, but a
Very.
good one. Very
Thank
good
you.
one. Finally, David Stone, your vote, sir, for Game of the Year.
And mine will be even more unusual because I am abstaining for a vote for Game of the Year this year. This year, there were a lot of really good games, there was a lot of okay, and there was a whole whack of crap. No single game really stood out to me as Game of the Year material. Like last year, my Game of the Year was World of Goo, because I played that game, it infected my thoughts. It was just so creative and so wonderful. And, like Uncharted 2, it's a good game. It's got great production values, but like you said, it's pretty vapid. I didn't like Demon Souls that much, actually. I don't know, it just didn't turn my crank for some reason. But then again, neither does Halo, so who am I to say? But I think the biggest thing was the fact that everything got out of the way for Modern Warfare 2, which robbed us of a lot of really good gameplay possibilities. And I think that that's a horrible, horrible thing for the games industry to have done, because they've just moved the glut forward by 3 months. We're still going to be screwed, doubly so, because we're all going to be piss poor from Christmas. And then we'll have to buy 20 games in the first 3 months of 2010. So in answer to all of that, I'm spoiling my ballot.
Wow. That's
controversial.
That is controversial.
Bold move.
So can I have your vote? Do I just get to take it then? For my pick of the year, which will come as no surprise, is Plants vs. Zombies. Folks, $10 on Steam. Go get it now. Look, I hate tower defense games. I hate them. I think they're terrible. They're boring. You're just sitting there watching things and not really controlling things. But Plants vs. Zombies, there is something about it, something in the art style, something in the writing, something in the unbelievable cleverness that went into the design of the plants that you're using to defend your house and the design of the zombies that are attacking your house. And, Hargrada said you can finish the game in about 5 or 6 hours, and that's absolutely true. But as every single level is unlocking something new, and we talk about that carrot on a stick, that thing that motivates you to keep playing, every time you finish a level, you're getting a new plant for your arsenal, you're getting a new zombie to mount a defense against, you're getting a new mini game to unlock, you're always getting something new, and that lasts for over 30 hours. I have to say, I really think PopCap, between Plants vs. Zombies and Peggle, have really established themselves as one of the premier developers. I am going to put them up there with Valve. I'm going to put them up there with Blizzard, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I think those two games, casual though they may be, casual in quotation marks, are just the pinnacle of addictive game design. And I cannot recommend really both of those games, but for 2009, Plants vs. Zombies enough.
Yeah, Tim, you can have my vote.
Thank you.
If only because I know Erin would agree with you. She's actually wearing her Plants vs. Zombie shirt right now.
Is she really?
Yeah, it's the only one that still fits.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh.
No, David, we're going to edit that out.
That's
That never happened.
It's the fever talking.
Well, look, even with your vote, David, we've got 3 votes for Demon Souls, and I think that right there is the official declaration that the GameCritics.com podcast Game of the Year 2009 is Demon Souls. Are you happy?
I am.
Whee! Next game.
I don't have a PS3. I haven't played it yet, but I am definitely going to check it out when I get a PS3 next month. And clearly this is I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum. It's
I think that's our New Year's resolution, is that Tim and I are going to get PS3s.
That's probably the first thing I'm going to do in 2010 is finally pick up a PS3, and I don't know, gosh, what am I going to play? Probably Resistance 2. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, any final thoughts before we close this out as we near our 4th hour of broadcasting?
If I could start out, I would like to say that this has actually been a pretty phenomenal year for games. There may not have been as many breakaway stars. I mean, you ask anybody, everybody's got a different pick for Game of the Year. But overall, I think this year the quality and the types of games that we got, for me anyway, was one of the best years in recent memory. I mean, I was backed up with stuff to play, and it wasn't just stuff to play. It was like really good stuff to play. I mean, there was one point when I had 5 or 6 like AAA games waiting to be played, and that just doesn't happen every year. So for me, this was a really, really good year. I mean, the big games were good, the indie games were good, the arcade games were good, the downloads. I mean, everything for me was really good. So I was thinking 2009 was a pretty sweet year to be gaming.
The only thing I'll add to that is, and I hate to end the show on a bit of a downer, but playing games like Uncharted 2 and Modern Warfare 2 were a bit depressing, because it sort of illustrated to me why video games are not movies, and I really hope we can get away from that paradigm so we can get games that are actually good and good for being games.
And to finally cement Tetris as Citizen Kane of gaming.
Woohoo!
There you go.
I'm with you, brother.
I thought this was a good year for games in a different way than what we're used to, where there wasn't like necessarily 1 or 2 super blockbusters. There were a lot of titles that people felt strongly about, and there were a lot of different valid choices for Game of the Year. So that's exciting to see. And again, I mean, you could be a downer and say, well, we got a lot of sequels and shit too, but there were some good new IPs out this year, and I think that bodes well for the future.
And I'm actually just going to disagree, but end it on a hopeful note, to say that I thought that this year was very, very meh for me. I thought that there were a lot of, like you guys said, really, really good games, but there were no real standouts, at least for me. But I'm looking at the release calendar for what's going to be coming out next year, and I'm sure for every one game we do know about, there's 3 that we don't. And the ones that we know about look pretty damn good. Like Mass Effect 2 right off is going to be really hard to beat in my books already. And that's just one of the amazing things that are coming up for 2010. So for me, I closed the book on 2009, not looking back, but looking forward at what's coming up.
Well said. And I think 2009 for me was the year I finally came to the realization that I can't play everything. And games I would have played without a second thought in the past, Dragon Age being one of them, I said, you know what? I just can't. I don't have time to do it. And I see games like Mass Effect 2 on the horizon, Splinter Cell. I can't believe these games are coming out in like a month, and I haven't played Batman yet, Assassin's Creed yet. I don't think I'll ever catch up, and I have to come to peace with that. So I guess it's a good problem to have, but it is a little depressing that I'm not going to get to some of those great games. So, any holiday well wishes before I close things out? Any happy holidays? Any Merry Christmases?
I think everybody at Game Critics probably would just like to wish a happy holidays to everybody who listens, and thank everybody for listening in the first place. I mean, this has been kind of a banner year for the site. We've done really good. I mean, we've had lots of great articles. We've got lots of new writers on board, and we've got this fabulous podcast hosted by who I see as probably the best podcast host on the internet, and I have listened to other podcasts as well. So, it's been a great year for us, and we really couldn't do it without people who care enough to come to the site and listen to the podcast. So, I think I probably speak for all of us when I say happy holidays, and hopefully next year we will continue to bring all those listeners and followers and podcast fans with us into the new year.
Amen.
Amen, man. Yeah, well said. You had to dig deep for that one, I know. At our 4th hour here. Good going, man.
Yeah, can't say it much better than that. So, David Stone, thanks for being with us tonight. Chi, Brad, Mike, as always, a pleasure. Looking forward to doing it next year. And you know what? Let's just forgo the sales pitch. Let's just close it out. Let's wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, good night, bon chance, and joyeux Noël. We'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
The bells are ringing, the song they're singing, the sound is bringing the people around. They hear the instructions, they follow directions, they travel great distances to the sound. The bells are ringing, the song they're singing, the bells are ringing, the song they're singing, the sound is bringing. They hear the instructions, they follow directions, they travel great distances to the sound. They are persuaded by the music of the bells. They're not responsible for anything they do. The people know the way to go. The bells are ringing, they hear the sound. 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 The bells are ringing and everyone's walking with arms extended in a trance. Forgetting their washing and letting the children, they're dropping on businesses at hand. A voice is telling them to act a different way. They tilt their heads so they won't miss what it will say. And when it's so, there's this to know. The bells are ringing, they hear the sound. The bells are ringing, the song they're singing, the sound is bringing the people round. They hear the instructions, they follow direction, they travel great distances to the sound. They are persuaded by the music of the bells. They're not responsible for anything they do. The people know the way to go. The bells are ringing, they hear the sound. A girl with cotton in her ears is shielded from the bell's effect. As if by hidden signal, the people turn to face her. 1,000 eyes are staring